through USB. So basically, let me show you guys the USB that I created. This right here, this USB, I have created it. So what you're going to do, there's going to be another video right here, preparation for the server through USB. So you're going to see something like that after, you're watching this video right now, but you have to watch that video to see how I created my first USB so I can install it on this server, and then from there on we will create our first domain controller. Okay, so right now I'm going to configure this guy right here. I already got it in a real world. Remember, this is everything real, so we have to show everything real. So I got my USB and I am going to plug it into this server. So I plugged in this into the back of the server. It's plugged in, and I'm going to start my server right now. And this server is connected right here, so I can see everything and configure everything from scratch. So we are going to boot our USB. So you need to find your boot. Mine's F11 boot menu. And basically what's going to happen, the server will say that, do you want to boot this from a CD, USB? So we'll pick USB over here, okay? Now again, remember guys, we're doing this just for basic stuff. We're not going to advanced RAID or anything like that. That's going to confuse you at this point. So let's get to the basic only. So here we need to decide now to start the server from a USB, which is in the back right here. I go ahead and just do that. As you can see, the files are loading right now from the USB. So at this point we have a bootable USB almost working. We'll find out when we go to the real installation part. Make sure that things are not corrupted and all that kind of stuff. So it's almost done. And don't worry about my screen right here. Like I said, I love this monitor and I want to give it up. While this is happening right now, just want to give you guys a reminder again that where we are, we're basically here, we're building our first domain controller. So we're just installing the whole server on the hardware right there. So we're basically installing this guy right here, okay? And then we're gonna do everything over here. We make a domain controller, and then we will be able to manage all these computers, printers, remote desktops, every single thing from this guy right here. Okay, everything is done. Alright, so this is the first screen. Then you need to just pick your language, time. I am from United States, so I'm going to pick United States and US, and I'll click on install now. But here's another part, that if you ever wanted to repair your server, you can go to this option and use that. We will do this after, when we install things and we get a little bit, familiar with the roles and everything. So we can't do this yet because we don't even have a server. So first thing, we need to install it now. Whoops, dropped my keyboard. That was disaster number one. Physically breaking things. Okay. Alright, so we got a few options here, and now since we're doing just for our own lab, just to kind of put our hands on the server and kind of learn server, so we are not too worried about what we are picking. But the one that you will pick, because you have 180 days, I'll pick the one that has everything, and that's going to be your data center, which is basically, it has every single feature in it, and it's probably used in more of like an enterprise, more of a more than medium-sized businesses that will use this part. If you were just using a server, you would go for like standard options. It has little limitations there. There's one core installation and one with basically GUI, or you can call it a GUI, whatever. It's like more of physically you can see things and work on things. But some of the administrators, if let's say this was a critical server and you were very worried about resources, like memory and stuff like that. If this was a main application of your business, you make money out of this application, then your server administrator will not like the GUI or GUI option. Okay, so basically core is more like you need to be more experienced with servers, because then you need to use command, PowerShell, all that kind of stuff. So you need to be an expert in this stuff. So we are not going to go through that because we are not experts. We want to learn like servers for the first time. So we will pick the fourth option, which is Windows Server 2012 R2 data center server with GUI or GUI, whatever you want to call it. So click next, and then you will accept the license terms. Click next. Here we will basically pick custom install. Okay, custom, and then you get partitions and everything. Now if you were to do this with for a company, then you need to know about partitions and making this server pretty nice, you know, all that RAID and stuff like that. So you need to make sure you know what you're doing with partitions. But at this point, like I say, we're just installing this to get our hands on servers. We're not too worried about it. So I'm going to pick my system right here, and whatever is in there, I'm just going to delete it because I don't want it, and I'll install server on it. And it tells you right now I have free space. Before I didn't have free space, so I'm gonna go ahead and install it on this drive 0 basically, and I'll just click next, and your server should start installing. It's pretty much automatic process after this. You just need to wait for this to finish up, and then at the end we will see our server will basically come up just like a normal operating system. But it's not going to be a domain controller yet. It's just going to be operating system with nothing, just a name and everything on it. Then we will install Active Directory, DHCP, DNS, and print services and all that. We are going to do all that cool stuff after the installation. Okay, once everything is done, it will restart. You can just click on that, and now we just need to wait for it to restart. There are some other things needs to be done. And now this time you notice that I'm not hitting F11 to start this machine from a bootable. I just want it to boot to hard drive now. So we have just installed our first server from USB, and now we just need to put some information out there. So this is your administrator account, built-in administrator account. We need to give it a good password, so let's go ahead and do that right now. So I'll put my password, and I'm just gonna go ahead and finish it. Alright, so that's the first screen, and it asks you to do all control delete, and the same password, you just need to type that in there. So this is the first screen from our server. It's just opening up. Server Manager will open up automatically. Remember guys, we kind of like went through this stuff in Microsoft hands-on labs when I basically put the video out there that to do a warm-up. So basically when you went to that video and that lab, it was already built in. There was a domain controller already installed. There was an Active Directory already installed. Every single thing, almost everything was installed for you, right? At this point, this machine is a standalone server. It is not providing any services at this time. It's basically on its own right now. What we need to do is we need to create this as our main domain controller. and that's something we will discuss in the next video, and I'm going to show you guys how to get to that video right after this. But just before that, we just want to quickly go ahead and see what's going on with this server. This is a fresh server, so to find out what's the name of this server, you just need to right click on this little star